guys, my name is Taylor. Welcome back to my channel if you are a returning subscriber, and if you are not yet subscribed, please do so. The button is just down below. Also make sure you click the bell. That will make sure that you are notified when I post new videos. So today's video, it was exciting, but it did not go that well. Today I am doing a review on the new Huda Beauty Mauve Obsessions palette. This is like the little mini palette. Huda Beauty just recently came out with these. They have 4 different variations. I got the mauve one because that's like what I'm into, so yeah. So basically I'm going to be reviewing this palette today, and I did do a tutorial with it to show you guys how it performed and everything. This video was a mess, to be honest. Like, everything was just going wrong. It's whatever. I'm having not the best makeup day, but whatever. So yeah, I did a review with this palette and a tutorial. The review will be at the end of this video because you kind of need to watch the tutorial and like see everything happen to really understand what I talk about in the review. So yeah, I think that's all I have to say. Just one thing I wanted to note, if you did watch my last video, which was my VIB sale haul, where I did haul this, if you have not watched it and you want to, I will have the link down below. But I did mention in that video that I was going to be doing a first impressions. This is not the first impressions. In this video I did use a lot of makeup that I did haul, but it was either things that were like repurchases, so I kind of already know how they work, or things that I had already tested out. I am going to be doing a full face of first impressions. That will be my next video up, and in that video is all things that I have not yet used. So yeah, I just wanted to make sure there's no confusion. This is not that video. That will be up next week. I just wanted to get this video up first. So we're just gonna move on to the tutorial, and then stay tuned till the end for the review on this palette and what my thoughts are. I'm starting off by priming the eyes with the Wet n Wild Photo Focus eyeshadow primer, and then going right in with the Huda Beauty palette. I'm gonna take this cream shade right at the bottom here, and I'm going to be using this to set the primer. So I'm going to take this middle shade here, and I'm going to throw this into the crease. It's a bit of like a cool toned mauve color. This is a really pretty color, and it definitely has a nice pigmentation to it. It blends out really easily, so I had no problems with that shade. Next, I'm going to be taking this shade right here, and I'm going to be focusing this in the crease but more on the outer portion, and then just kind of lightly bringing it into the inner portion. This shade I did feel needed a bit of building up. It did blend pretty easily. I didn't really have problems with that. It does show up, I feel like it shows up lighter on the lid than it is in the pan, and I did have to build this up. So yeah, it's kind of like a little bit of a deceiving shade. But overall, I think it is a really pretty color. And I did want to note that so far there's been no fallout. So I'm going to take this like red burgundy kind of color here. I don't know if I'm going to take it on a really small brush and just kind of fluff it in the crease, because I don't want it to be too like much of a red kind of eye. So we'll see how this goes. Okay, there's nothing coming up right now. Yeah, I don't find it showing up how I want it to using this brush, so I'm going to try something different. I'm just going to even out the two sides first. It seems like everything on this eye is just blending and working so much better. It could be that I didn't set this eye properly, even though I did like really set it, but I don't know. For some reason, just everything on this eye is blending and like looking way better than this eye. I'm going to take more of like a flat shader brush, and I'm going to pack this on the outer corner and see how the pigment is on that. Yeah, not overly impressed. It does not like want to layer at all, and then it's just like building up in the outer corner, like all the kick up is building up there. It's very strange. But like it's not building up on the eye at all. It's kind of irritating me. I'm gonna try and get a little bit closer and hope you guys can really see. I have a lot of it on my brush. I'm gonna pack it on. And like, it's not really even going on the eye, it's just kind of like falling underneath. So that's really irritating. Like, none of the other shades had any fallout, so this is the first one that did. It's just really weird how it's working. There definitely was a lot of kick up in the pan with that shade as well. The other shades had a little bit of kick up, but nothing like that red one did. I do want to try and test out as many colors in this palette as possible. I'm just going to quickly go into another palette. I just need something a little bit more warm in the crease because I need to blend this crease a little bit, but I don't want to use that really cool tone shade. So I'm just going to go in with my Anastasia Modern Renaissance, and I'm just going to take a very little bit of burnt orange and just kind of go over the crease with that. I just don't want this look to be super cool toned, and this palette does not have like a warm tone transition shade. So I'm just using this to blend the edges so that everything looks a little bit more blended together. I'm going to go in with this deeper like reddish color here, and let's see how that works. So I picked up quite a bit on my brush and we're going to pat it on. Okay. So this one's working a little bit better, but still it's not coming off as pigmented as I would want it. It seems like the more I pat down, the more I keep patting, it like almost picks up product instead of laying it down. So that's irritating. It's definitely working better. Like it's definitely, there's definitely more pigment going onto the eye than with that red shade, but it's still not like working how I want it to necessarily. It's just, it seems like it's going to be an eyeshadow that I have to keep working at, and it's going to take a lot of time, and that's just not something I really want to deal with, you know? Hopefully this looks better at the end because I actually have to go to work with this. This is why I never actually test out makeup when I'm going out, because I don't want it to like turn out bad and have to go out like that. I also wanted to note there was minimal fallout with that shade. There was a little bit, but nothing compared to that first one. So yeah. Okay, I'm gonna go in with the darkest shade in the palette, which is this like deep purpley shade. I'm gonna take it on a smaller brush and just pat that in the outer corner just to really deepen it up. It's not coming off as intensely as I would want it to. I don't know, it's just really annoying me. It's working a little bit better, but it's kind of just the same thing. Like, you pick up so much, and when you pat it on, it's like there's not really much going on the lid. I don't want to have to layer this eyeshadow 15 times to get it to the pigmentation that I want it to. Like, that's just takes way too much time. I don't have the time for that. I just want this to be fast. The one good thing is I don't seem to really have any difficulties with blending. Like, everything is blending pretty well. So far, the only real difficulty I have is that some of these shades are just not going on pigmented. Okay, so I just kind of cleaned up all that fallout because it was kind of driving me nuts and I looked a little bit crazy. So I'm going to be using this one here. This is my favorite one in the palette. Now, swatching these, they definitely have a bit of pickup in the pan, a bit of pickup on the actual finger. I can kind of tell right off the bat that this is gonna have to be wet, or there's gonna be a lot of fallout and not a lot of pigmentation. I'm honestly totally fine with that. I wet every single like metallic eyeshadow I use anyways, so really for me that's just like a common thing I do. It's an everyday kind of thing for me. For some people who don't actually wet their eyeshadows or don't like to, that may be something to keep in mind. I'm gonna first try applying it without wetting it, just so that for people who don't want to have to wet it can see how it goes on. And then I will probably end up wetting it because I like wetting it. One, it creates little to no fallout, and two, it just makes the eyeshadow so much more pigmented, and I love a super pigmented, intense, metallic eyeshadow. So that's what I'm gonna do. So for this, I'm gonna take my trusty MAC 242. This is my favorite brush, hands down, to apply a metallic shade with. It's just like a flat brush. It just picks up the eyeshadow so well, so I love it. So I'm going in with that shade. Like I said, right off the bat, in the pan there is some kick up to it. I packed it on to the brush. So this is dry. We're gonna see how it applies. Yeah, not really a fan. There is a little bit of fallout, not a whole ton. It does not go on extremely pigmented, and it seems to just kind of like stick in one place. It's not really wanting to move around. So definitely not for me. I'm just gonna go back in and I'm just gonna wet it with a setting spray. Any setting spray will work for this. The eyeshadow is done. I'm gonna do some falsies. I will be doing that off camera. The falsies I'm gonna be wearing are the Kiss number 11s, but I do have them layered together. You'll see what they look like once they're on. I have no time to waste, so while my lash glue is getting tacky, I'm gonna start with the face. I'm gonna kind of zoom through this because the main part of this video is just the review on the palette. So for my face, I'm using my trusty Nivea Men Aftershave Balm as my primer. And the foundation I'm going to be using today is the Makeup Forever Ultra HD in the shade Y215. I'm going to look a little crazy right now because I only have one lash on, but we're just going to go with it. I really hope this lighting is not too bright, and if it is, I apologize. I'm like filming this extremely early because like I said, I'm getting ready for work. When I started filming this, the sun was not up, and now it is. For concealer, I'm going in with the Too Faced Born This Way Naturally Radiant Concealer. To set my under eyes, I'm going to go in with the No, this is not Kat Von D. The Anastasia Contour Kit. And I'm going to be mixing these two lighter ones here. And then to set the rest of my face, I'm taking the Coty Airspun Loose Powder. I'm going to try out these Hourglass powders. So I'm going to take this middle shade. I'm going to try lightly setting the under eyes with it and see how that goes, because it is quite, like, it has quite a fair amount of like a shimmer to it. So we're going to see how that goes. Okay, we're just going to go lightly and just, oh shit, nope. This could almost be like a really subtle highlighter. I'm going to go in with the first shade. This one is Dim Light. And I'm just going to lightly dust some of this onto my face and just see if it gives any kind of light glow. Yeah, I think it gives a very soft glow. The first shade that I used definitely was a lot more intense. A little bit too intense. I guess I'm going to finish the lower lash line. I'm just going to be really simple. I'm going to take this shade here first and just kind of run that across the lower lash line, like from the outer corner to the inner corner. And then I'm going to take a little bit, I'm going to try this red out, put that in the outer corner, and then probably deepen up a little bit with this guy. So that's kind of my plan there. I'm going to come back to the eyes in a little bit. I'm just going to move to the face now. I'm going to bronze using the Benefit Hoola Light Bronzer. And then I'm going to contour with the middle shade from the Anastasia contour kit. For blush, I'm going in with a NARS blush, and this is in the shade Deep Throat, which just looks like that. For highlight, I'm going in with the Tarte Pro Glow palette. And I'm going to be using this shade here called Strobe. Okay, so I'm just going to quickly finish my eyes. I'm just going to apply my Maybelline gel liner to my waterline, put on some mascara, and then that's it, and I'll be right back. Okay, next I'm going to do lipstick. I'm going to be using the Smashbox Always On liquid lipstick in Demand, which is like a really warm nude color. I don't know if this really suits the look, but I'm going with it anyways. My very last step is going to be setting it all, so I'm going in with the Makeup Forever Mist and Fix Setting Spray. So I did kind of give my opinions throughout the tutorial with this palette, but I just kind of want to go over some things. So first off, packaging. I really love it. I think it's really cute. I love the fact that it's like so small. It's literally like the size of my palm. It's a great like travel palette. You get 9 shadows in here, and it's so tiny and very lightweight. Like that's great for traveling purposes. I like the fact that even though it is so tiny, you do get so much. Like it does come with 9 eyeshadows, 9 very beautiful eyeshadows, and it also does come with a mirror. So I think the packaging and everything about this palette is great, like the concept and everything. The shadows in here are just stunning. Like it literally has everything I need. So I think the layout of this palette is honestly great. It's exactly what it says. Like it's exactly described as a mauve palette, and they did a really good job of capturing that. Now the thing that disappoints me is the shadows themselves, because there was a few in here that just did not perform how I would expect a $35 eyeshadow palette to. The thing is it doesn't, for me, it doesn't matter whether I spend $5 or $60. If something doesn't work for me, I will return it. Because there is no point in me keeping something that doesn't work that I spend my money on. I don't waste my money like that. I don't throw my money away. If I don't like something, doesn't matter how little or much I spent on it, it will be returned. There's just no point keeping it if I'm not going to enjoy it or if it's not worth the money that I paid. Let's just kind of talk in depth about these more. As you guys saw in the tutorial, like I had no problems with these 2 shades here, the cream and the more like mauve crease color. They worked really well. They went on pigmented, they blended well. In all honesty, I really did not have any blending problems at all with any of the shades. I found that they all blend pretty well. There wasn't any eyeshadow that I was really struggling to blend out or anything. The main issue is the pigmentation. So this shade here, you guys saw, this one went on really beautiful. I really like this. The one thing is it does go on the lid lighter than in the pan and a little bit more pink, so it's a little bit deceiving in the pan. I did have to build it up a little bit just to get it a little bit darker, more to this color, but like when you first initially put it on, it is more of a lighter pink. This shade disappointed me the most, and this was one of the ones that I was like most excited about because it's like this really deep red burgundy color. Love it, so beautiful. The issue with this was just no product that was actually going on the lid. Everything was just falling down onto my cheeks. There was just nothing going on the lid, and it was so bizarre and extremely frustrating. I don't know What the issue is with that, I tried it on the lid and then I did take a really dense pencil brush and I tried to do the same thing and like kind of smoke it out in the inner corner on the lower lash line, and once again it was the same thing. There's just no pigmentation in the area that I was applying it. It was just falling onto my cheeks, and that was kind of the same problem with these two deeper shades as well. They weren't not as bad. I just find they were not going very pigmented on the eye, and I had to keep building them up and like reapplying to get the pigmentation that I want, to get them as deep of a color as they show up in the pan. And that's annoying. I don't want to sit there and have to reapply it 5 times to get it to this pigmentation. I shouldn't have to. This one I just really found was not even usable. Like, it just would not work no matter how many times I was building it up. So that's kind of what I have to say about the mattes. Now for the metallics, the only one I actually use is this one. This is beautiful. It really is. It has a lot of kick up. A lot of these shadows have kick up. This one especially. This one does have quite a bit of kick up as well. It is a very foiled shade, but the thing is it kind of goes on sheer. I showed you guys in the tutorial. I did try applying it with just a dry brush, and it pretty much would just fall over my eyes, and it had very little pigmentation on the actual lid. So then I went in and I wet it, and it worked 100 times better. As you can see, it looks stunning. So that's the only thing with these metallic shades. Now, I have not tried these other two. I don't know if they're going to perform the exact same way. Formula-wise, these ones feel a lot smoother than that one. The one that I used on my lid definitely has a bit more of a chunky feel to it. It feels a little more like a pressed foil than like just a metallic eyeshadow. So it definitely feels like it has a bit of a different formula than these two. So that might not be such a problem with these ones. I haven't tried those ones out, so I don't know. But that's just my opinion on that one. I would say as long as you wet the shadow, it works beautifully. So yeah, that's kind of all I have to say individually about the shadows. Overall, I'm like kind of so-so. I love the shades. The thing that's really throwing me off and that I'm like, I don't know about this palette is the fact that those deeper shades, this one like really just didn't work for me, and the other two had to be built up so many times to get it to be as like deep as it should be, and that's really annoying. Like, that's not something I want to deal with. And when I think about it, if I want to do my makeup in the morning and I have to be fairly quick, definitely not going to reach for this palette, because those shadows are not the easiest to work with. And the other thing is I have a lot of similar shades in this palette. If all of the shadows in this palette worked really well, then I would be totally in love with this, because it has literally all of the shades that I love in one palette. I definitely have similar shades to probably all of these in other palettes, but like in a bunch of different ones. So it would be awesome to have all of them in one, and like in this tiny little travel size palette, that would be great. The issue is that 3 of them just don't work for me. If I'm being honest, like this look to me looks almost identical to the look that I did with the ColourPop Femme Rosa palette, which if you haven't seen that video, I'll leave that link down below as well, and you can go see. Like, they look almost the same. I actually compared this metallic shade to the one that I used in that palette, and it's almost the same shade. The only thing is the ColourPop one has like a copper shift to it. Personally, I like the ColourPop one better. I think it looks even prettier. But yeah, so like the fact that I can pretty much create this exact look with the palette I already have, like, is it really worth keeping considering this was $35? This one may go back to the store. I'm actually going to give this one another shot. I'm going to try it out again. If any of my opinions change on this palette, I will keep you guys updated, and everything will be down in the description box. So just make sure you check down there, and I will let you guys know if I found that this worked better another day or if I'm deciding to keep it. But as of right now, I'm leaning towards returning this. Unfortunately, I'm really disappointed. I was super excited about this because it's beautiful. So it really sucks that it disappointed me, but that's just how things go. Hopefully that was in depth enough for you guys. If you enjoyed this video, or if you thought this review was helpful, or you just want to be generous, you can like this video Also, if you have not already subscribed, which I hope you have, you can still do so. It's still down below. Please go ahead and do that. And yeah, my next video will be my full face of first impressions, and I will see you guys then.
I'm just going to start off priming the eyes with the Wet n Wild